The reason I mentioned Rhodesia is one of the things that happened to them, and one of the things that a lot of Rhodesians who are, I don't know why there's so many, because there was only like tops of 2 to 300,000 Rhodesians, but I meet them everywhere. It's shocking. In Australia, in America, in the UK, I hear a slight accent, and I'm like,
You know it, yes.
I don't want to offend you by saying you're South African, but are you Zimbabwean? And they're like, yes, that's me. And I was like, how did you know? And I was like, I have a lot of friends that are Zimbabwean. But what happened to them, there was a lot of bitterness after the fall. They felt like they were betrayed after they asked for independence and they were flourishing. And they feel like they were a threat in many ways to the UK, and they were undermined. And they felt that because they're landlocked, Zimbabwe being at the south of Africa landlocked, they felt that South Africa was weaponized by the UK against Zimbabwe, cutting off, for example, fuel and the sort. The reason I mention that is, look, this isn't a Rhodesia episode, but our fuel reserves in Australia.
Oh. Well, it's dire. So in the year 2000, we had 8 petroleum refineries in Australia, and those refineries supplied nearly all our domestic fuel consumption needs. Today we have 2, and more than 90% of our fuel comes from abroad, mainly Singapore, South Korea and Japan. Now, during COVID, Scott Morrison had the brilliant idea, realizing, of course, that this huge disruption, sea travel, sea lanes being blocked and so on, he managed to buy $94 million worth of oil at a very good price as oil supply. Now, may I say, first of all, Australia is a member of the international IEA, International Energy Agency, is not fulfilling its obligations to maintain at least 3 months of fuel in Australia, for Australia, in the event that our fuel supplies, wherever they come from, are disrupted and so on. And now ours come from abroad. They come by sea, and we're talking about, this is the most volatile period that we're living in our region since the Second World War. So we're not even fulfilling our obligations. I mean, they want to fulfill their obligations with Paris or these nonsense climate accords. They don't fulfill their obligations with the most essential thing, which is to keep Australia running. But Morrison had a plan. And his plan was to buy $94 million worth of fuel. Yeah. It's 5 days worth of fuel. Yeah. It's stored in the United States.
That's why I'm laughing. I knew where you're going with that. It's like, well, that's just great. You know, like just
what
brilliant.
Genius dreamt that one up?
The moment there's a shortage, the Yanks are going to yank that. Like,
well, the sea lanes are shut. I mean, didn't somebody tell them this is why we've got
That's the problem.
The sea lanes are closed.
Because it all comes through what's the name of that strait near Singapore? If that gets closed off.
That's the Malacca Strait.
The Malacca Strait. The Malacca. I should remember that. Greek, Malacca. It's in the Malacca Strait. And so 90% of our fuel's coming via that. And the Chinese have like 80 plus submarines. One submarine can close that strait. Just one. And you're right.
Well, and the whole thing is,